Good evening. Welcome to What News. I am Wisdom Onyisi. First, the headlines. President Tinubu aware times are hard, says SGF Akume. Paris authority to deploy 4,000 police officers for France versus Israel march. New Zealand delivers landmark apology to survivors of state abuse. And on sport, referee Cote suspended amidst Liverpool and club video injury. Inquiry, I beg your pardon. The State Secretary to the Government of Federation, George Akume, on Monday said President Bola Tinubu is aware that times are hard in the country. Akume noted that the president was aware of the economic hardship in the country, but assured Nigerians that the country was on the right track. His speech comes amidst the myriad of economic challenges confronting Nigerians, which are the ripple effect of reforms introduced by Tinubu. The reforms include the removal of fuel subsidies and the floating of the naira, which the presidency has since noted were necessary decisions to revive the country's economy. We also have you know that Kano state government has said its agencies are working to generate about 449 billion naira as recurrent revenue for the year 2025. The Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Musa Suleiman Shanono, disclosed this during the 2025 proposed budget breakdown. The size of the proposed 2025 budget as presented before the House of Assembly by the governor stands at 549 billion naira. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has decried the impact of building collapse across the country, saying that punitive measures would be meted out to defaulters of building codes. The Directors of Planning, Research and Statistics, Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Mohammed Bala, disclosed this on Monday, adding that efforts are ongoing to curb the menace. He made this disclosure in Gombe at the opening of the 5-day meeting of the National Council on Land, Housing, Urban Development, with the theme, Housing the Future. Affordable housing for economic growth, climate resilience, and urban development. Bala said the federal government was working assiduously to ensure that the issue was minimized following the impact on lives. When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of Africa. The UN says nearly 25 million people, half of Sudan's population, need aid as famine has taken hold in displacement camp and 11 million people have fled their homes. The United Nations Security Council is discussing a British drafted resolution that demands Sudan's warring parties cease hostilities and calls on them to allow safe, rapid and unhindered deliveries of aid across front lines and borders. War erupted in April 2023 from a power struggle between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces ahead of a planned transition to civilian rule and triggered the world's largest displacement crisis. Away from that, Kenya's candidate for the top job at the African Union Commission, Raila Odinga, has said that if United States President-elect Donald Trump does not want to engage with Africa, the continent has other friends willing to step in. In an interview with AFP in Addis Ababa, Odinga, a veteran Kenyan politician, expressed cautious optimism about Trump's stance on Africa following his victory in the U.S. presidential election. Odinga, who is one of 4 candidates vying to replace Monsal Mohammed as the head of the African Union Commission next year, said that while he does not want to prejudge Trump, Africa is open to working with the U.S. if the president-elect is willing. Now we'll move to other parts of the world after this break. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back. Now news from other parts of the world. Leaders from Arab and Islamic nations have called for a move to suspend Israel's membership in the United Nations, aiming to intensify international pressure over the ongoing conflict in Gaza and Lebanon. This proposal marks a significant shift in strategy, underscoring the severity with which regional leaders view the escalation of violence in the Middle East. During a summit in Riyadh, Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul-Ghat highlighted the importance of the proposed action to freeze Israel's UN membership. He described it as a major step towards addressing long-standing grievances. Abul-Ghat expressed confidence that a broad coalition of countries would support the effort. The Riyadh summit convened leaders from across the Arab and Islamic world with the objective of finding a path to escalation, promoting peace, and halting the circle of violence. Authorities in Paris are planning to deploy 4,000 police officers for the upcoming France versus Israel match. 2,500 of them will be at the Stade de France Stadium, and the rest will be around the city and monitoring public transport. According to Paris Police Chief, an anti-terrorist security perimeter will be put in place around the stadium. He has insisted that officers will not tolerate violence, adding that authorities have been in touch with officials in Israel to prepare for the game. We also have that New Zealand Prime Minister on Tuesday delivered a historic apology to victims abused in state care, acknowledging the unimaginable pain suffered within children's homes and psychiatric hospitals. Some 200,000 vulnerable New Zealanders were abused in state care over decades, according to a recent public inquiry that described its finding as unthinkable national catastrophe. Children were sexually abused by church carriers, mothers were forced to give up kids for adoption, and troublesome patients were stripped to beds for seizure-inducing electroconvulsive therapy. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon on Tuesday apologized on behalf of successive governments that turned a blind eye to such harrowing report. Up next is business. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv.
Welcome back now to business news. The Nigerian federal government is eyeing a single-digit tax regime to reduce the burden of multiple taxation on Nigerians. Chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reform, Taiwo Ayedele, revealed this in an interview with newsmen. Olayode explained that all taxes would be cut down to single digit when the ongoing reforms are concluded. A single-digit tax system allows less than 10 taxes to be paid by citizens or businesses within a period of time. He said this in an interview themed tax reforms, why states should not collect VAT, noting that his committee has put in a framework in place to enhance cooperation between tax authorities and states in terms of data, tax intelligence, and capacity building. Still on business news, British shoppers faced increased pressure on their budgets last month after grocery price inflation edged higher again, industry data showed on Tuesday. Market researchers said annual grocery price inflation was 2.3% in the 4 weeks to November 3rd, having been 2.0% in the previous 4-week period. The data showed prices are rising fastest in products such as chilled soft drinks and chocolate, confectionery, and falling fastest in items such as toothbrushes, household paper products, and sparkling wine. Official data published last month showed overall UK inflation eased to 1.7% in September. Data for October would be published November 20th. Still on business news, we also have that Mexico's economy minister Marcelo Ebrard suggested on Monday that the Mexican government could retaliate with its own tariff on U.S. imports if the incoming Trump administration slaps tariffs on Mexican exports. Ebrard made the comment in an interview reflected on how President-elect Donald Trump threatened 25% tariffs on Mexican goods during his previous term in office at a time when the Republican leader sought concession from Mexico's government on immigration enforcement. Ebrard went on to stress that tariffs will stoke inflation in the U.S., which he described as an important limitation that should argue against such a tit-for-tat trade spat. Still to come is sport. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Poker.
Welcome back now to Sport News. Premier League referee David Cottle has been suspended after a video allegedly showing him making derogatory comment about Liverpool and the club's former manager Jurgen Klopp was circulated on social media. Refereeing body PGMOL says the suspension comes into force with immediate effect and is pending a full investigation. Cottle, 42 years, refereed Liverpool 2-0 win against Aston Villa on Saturday. He is one of the Premier League most experienced officials and has been refereeing matches in the top flight since 2018. Away from that, where we have that Cleveland Cavaliers became just the 8th team in NBA history to win their first 12 games at a regular season with a 190-113 victory over the Chicago Bulls. It is the best start to an NBA season since the Golden State Warriors in 2015-16, who spent on to win a record 24 successive games. Donovan Mitchell top scored with 36 points, and 5 other players reached double figures as the Cavaliers fought back from 9 points down the third quarter to a sealed victory. Zach LaVine scored 26 points, while Kobe White and Nikola Vucevic added 20 in reply for the Bulls, who slipped to 4-7 for the season. Elsewhere, Victor Wembanyama scored 34 points and had 14 rebounds and 6 assists as the San Antonio Sports beat the Sacramento Kings 116-96. Julian Campin scored 13 points and Chris Paul added 12, as all of the sports starters posted double futures. Well, we have London cricket. We'll have that Lucky Ferguson took a hit trick and Glenn Phillips claimed 3 wickets in the final over as New Zealand defended 108 to win low-scoring second T20 against Sri Lanka in Dambulla. The host needed only 8 from the final ever, but off-spinner Phillips crucially had opener Pathan Nsakal, who had battled through the 52 from 51 balls, caught at long on with the second ball on a slow turning pitch. Earlier, faster bowler Ferguson dismissed Kusa Pereira with the last ball of his first ever and followed with the wicket Kamintu, Mendus and Chart. Alazanka at the start of his second to become the 6th New Zealanders to take hit trick in men's T20. He finished with fixtures of 3-7 in 2 overs, while Phillips took 3-6 from 1.5 overs. New Zealand total was the lowest they have defended in men's T20. And that's your sport news on World News. Now we move to the rest of the news after this break. Stay with us.
This is Hillstv.
Back now, the rest of the news. Dozens of world leaders convened in Azerbaijan on Tuesday for COP29, but many big names are skipping the UN climate talks where the impact of Donald Trump's election victory is keenly felt. More than 75 leaders are expected in Baku over 2 days, but the heads of some of the most powerful and polluting economics are not attending this year's summit. Just a handful of leaders from the G20, which accounts for nearly 80% of planet heating greenhouse gas emission, are expected in Baku, including UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And that's World News. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. We brought to you that President Tinubu, aware times are hard, says SGF Akume. Paris authorities to deploy 4,000 police officers for France versus Israel match. New Zealand delivers landmark apology to survivors of state abuse. And on sport, we brought to you that referee Caute suspended amidst Liverpool and Klopp video inquiry. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hillstv. I am Wisdom Onizi. Thanks for watching.